All right. Well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. Great to have you all here. Today, we're going to be taking a look at new beginnings. We finally got into trait number 41 last week. This is the last day that we're in trait 41, and we're moving into trait 19. So we're going to be taking a look at new beginnings and our needs. So today is January 26th. 2021, and this is episode number 89. All right, before we get started, let's say hello to our panel, and we have a very, very special guest. So welcome, Linda. Great to have you join us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, and thanks for jumping in at the last minute too. We were just wrapping up our OC16 course, and Linda is assisting in the course and invited her here, and she jumped in. So great to have you here. Thank you so very much for being here. Beautiful. And Natalie. Hey, well, welcome, Natalie.
Yay, I'm so happy to be. Yes, I am unmuted. Okay, wonderful. Looking forward to today. This will be a very interesting episode.
Yes. And Anna wasn't able to join us today. So we are going to go ahead and jump in. So thank you, Linda, for jumping in the last minute. So really appreciate it. Well, very cool. Well, we're going to actually explore a little bit about what this upcoming year is all about, really taking a look at that trait 41 and where we're starting in these new beginnings, and also where we're going to be next week as we move into trait 19. So it's very, very fascinating. So let's take a look at, again, we are starting off the right by beginning a new cycle. Again, when is... and I think I changed the date. Yes, I did. So when beginning of the new cycle, so that was Thursday, January 21st. Patience is a great virtue. We're going to talk a little bit about that, because as we continue to move forward, we're going to see that the fates haven't quite taken hold yet. So even though we have now started something new, there's still a little bit more of a wait before we truly get started. So again, the 41 is the start code. The 41 is the dreamer. So we'll take a deeper look at the dreamer today. We can see that next week, starting tomorrow, we're going to move into the 19th. And when we take a look at trait 19, it's about social needs. It's the final thrust of pressure in entering into the new cycle, and it's the last trait of transformation. So again, here we have all of this pressure down in the root. And so again, we have the 41. We'll take a look at the 19. It is the last thrust of pressure here as we move into this new cycle. And again, next week, what we're going to take a look at, we're moving out of transformation, and we'll be moving into fulfilling your purpose through the mind. So when we move there, we can see that the 13 is about the listener, and it's listening from the past. So hopefully we can also learn lessons from the past too, right? Before we move into this new cycle. Then we have principles. Notice that we have the 49. That's what's on the other side of the 19. So I find that it's really interesting that we have the 19 that we're moving into with these social needs. And then right after listening from the past, we have principles and revolution coming up. And then after that, that's where the fates take hold, right? And where we are fully now in the new year, fully now in fulfilling purpose through mind. So I just thought that was interesting as we start off this new year. So let's take a look again, just a happy rave new year. And again, this stage 5 of starting new. We took a look at this briefly last week, but I want to just go through this again as we start off, and then we'll take a look at kind of what this new year is all about. So stage 5 is the new start, the dreamer. Again, it is all these possibilities. And then when the fates take hold, boom, it's one possibility that really takes off. So this is the when. This is the timing of when to start a new year. So as we have taken a look at starting this new year, when you have taken time to examine why you're here, taken a look and examined when you know who are the important players in your life, when you have assessed what inspires you, what moves you forward, what excites you, And when you realize the how of moving forward, unencumbered, is simply letting go of the past and what no longer serves you. Right. So this is the when you finally are complete and ready to step into the new experiential cycle with a clean slate. Again, that was on Thursday, January 21st. But whenever you start something new, everything doesn't happen all at once, right? Once you start something new, that also kind of, you need to get grounded in this new beginning before really taking off and stepping into what's new. So I didn't know if Linda or Natalie, you wanted to add anything. And what we're going to take a look at next is just pointing out a few little pieces of, based on the chart on January 21st, when we started this new year, what are some things to, in a sense, pay attention to as we move into this new year? So anything you guys want to add before we jump in? No? All right, let's just jump in, because I'm sure you'll have a lot from what we're taking a look at. So let's take a look at one of the things we take a look in the cycles course is we take a look at, in a sense, the imprint of what happens in the moment when something begins. So we're going to take a look at the imprint that's happened in the moment of the start of this new year to give us a sense of what this new year is all about. It's a fascinating new year. So one of the first things we're going to take a look at, in a sense, is the environment, right? So the environment is so this is the past and future direction, is what sets up the environment, what we're going to see as we experience this new year. And it's in the 45-3 and in the 26-3. So the environment of this year, we've talked about this in past BG5 lives. It's interesting to kind of look at this again, because again, this sets the foundation, sets the stage for what this year is going to look like. So the past direction is about the 26-3, which is sales and marketing, which is about influence. Sales and marketing can also be propaganda as well. So just something to look at. So this influence is the ability, once prepared, to gather support. The authority to focus on communal efforts is what this is about. Or, because it also has a challenge as well, the leadership, while gathering support, will underestimate the potential challenges. All right. So there's going to be this feeling of this gathering of support and focusing on this communal effort as we move forward. There's also the gathering together and exclusion. Right. So exclusion, one of the things that we have seen in our world is it's been very divided. There's been, in a sense, sort of two sides of things. Whenever there's two sides, one is going to be excluded for the other. Right. So we have kind of this exclusion. This is the instinct to find a way to be included in the material process. Right. Even if you have to be humiliated in order to be a part of whatever this material process is. Or the challenge is the expression of frustration when not included in the material process. This is an aggressive and often violent reaction to exclusion. So it's very fascinating just taking a look at, in general, what we're seeing in the world, where, there is, aggression, there's violence, there's people protesting, there's, riots happening, all across the globe, with taking a look at who's included and who's not included. So it's just kind of fascinating that this is part of the environment that we are currently in, and setting the stage for the environment of what we're going to see throughout this year. So I would love to hear, Natalie or Linda, if there's anything that you want to add or anything that you see. I know that you're having some uprising. You're both in the Netherlands, and there's some rioting taking place there. So it's kind of interesting, reading through this aggressive or often violent reaction to exclusion as well. I don't know if you have anything that you want to speak to about that, just from your perspective and where you're at.
Oh boy, yeah. This makes totally sense. It's crazy. It's really about, to me, it feels like there are two opposites. They are there's the government that is really trying to gather us together to battle COVID, etc., and to follow the rules, etc. And there is the other side, and it's interesting because now it makes sense. The new rave year is that since a day or two there are riots in the Netherlands. So with the almost the start of rave new year, there is a change, a start of riots. And because there are lots of restrictions happening, and they are getting stricter and stricter, and now it's like it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's like the final drop, and now we have riots, and it's also, it's really, I think there are lots of people that are trying to gather support. The media is trying to get support for the government, and also it's a third line, so it's all trial and error. It's also really chaotic. Things are going to evolve. There is people also, the rioters or people that are demonstrating are trying what does work and what doesn't work in opposition. The government is trying, and the police, what does work to get the riots out of the way. So I think this is amazing to really see it show up in real life. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And
Crazy.
this being a third quality, this is going to be a year of trial and error. It's very material. It's very mutative. It's about bringing
Yes.
forth change, right? So the environment is going to bring forth change, whatever that change happens to be.
Yes. Yeah, and interesting that you also mentioned the material, because there are lots of people that are going out of business because of what's going on. So people are fighting for their material success because they don't have income, some people. So it's really, really interesting to really see, and also gathering together, because we have to stay locked up in our homes, but we can feel the pressure to gather together because people want to be socially involved, and the need is getting higher and higher. So it's amazing. And then the sales marketing is really, also the influencing the opinions of the people on both sides. So it's really like it feels like a battle.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Exactly.
is a battlefield out there. I live in Amsterdam, and we have helicopters over my head all the time, like for the past 2 hours or so. And it's 10:15 at night. So yeah,
Wow.
it is a battlefield.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy, and it's all of a sudden. And I find it
And yeah,
fascinating.
for
Yeah.
people, because in general we're a nice, easygoing country. We do not riot and stuff,
No.
and it's really like, what's happening, right? It's foreign. It feels foreign.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
And to be more explicit, it feels foreign because we've seen the riots in the States, but that's
Yeah.
over there on the other side of the ocean, right? That doesn't happen here. Duh.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's fascinating to see. I know we're international, so we have people all around the world. So it's going to be interesting to see, as things unfold this year, how again that shows up. This sets the foundation. This is, we are going to go through different environments this year. We'll follow them along as we go through BG5 Live. But again, this is what sets the stage. This is what sets the tone for this entire year. And not only that, right? We also have, very interesting enough, this is going to be a revolutionary year of inner truth as well. So we have two strengths that are defined and really that define this year. And, the 1949 about the social needs. We also have the 61 and the 24, which is also about this inner truth. So there's going to have, in a sense, this sort of revolutionary feel. Again, we have the strength of resources, kind of what Linda was talking about too. People are struggling with resources on the material plane, right? If your
Yep.
business is shut down, or you no longer have a job because of all of the lockdowns and everything that's happening, it's this looking at, oh, we don't have what we need. We can't pay for our food and our shelter. That's what the needs are. That's what the 19 is. That's what we're moving into next week, taking a look at, what are our needs, and what are the resources that we have available, or what resources are missing. And if people don't have what they need, eventually on the other side is the 49, which causes a revolution. We're also in this creative process as well of really finding inner truth. We had a lot of this going on as we were following it along. There was a lot of inner truth and that pressure for inner truth happening for a large portion of last year. But notice how much pressure there's going to be this year. Notice how much pressure. We have the pressure from below, we have the pressure from above. Right. So we're going to be under a lot of mental pressure this year. We're going to also be under a lot of physical pressure this year as well. I also thought very interesting the universal time. If you take a look at the universal time, it was at 1949. And interesting that 1949 is then also defined. It also, I mean, I don't know what that means, but it's kind of quite a coincidence that that happens to be there as well. So if we take a look at this revolutionary, where the revolution comes from, if we take a look at where the 49 is, right? The 49 is revolution. It's revolutionary communication. So it's in communication. And it's the last resort. It's the potential to explore every possibility before rejecting, the determination to exhaust every possible peaceful avenue for change. And then when satisfied, there's no other course is possible. It's the plan in detail for before revolution is attempted, right? So it's kind of like, okay, exhausting all of the resources. And then, if the resources are exhausted, boom, there is revolution. Or again, the challenge, the tendency here is that the coup d'etat that has very little general support, right? So there is either a lot of pressure for revolution, right? Or not. But again, it's kind of these two sides, that there is kind of a battle out there, and what's happening. So very fascinating. It's also, again, the social needs, right? So when we take a look at the social needs specifically in the 19, which we're going to be moving into next week, is interdependence as our personal law. So it was very interesting in OC 16. Juan Jose was actually bringing up, in sense, this interdependence versus this dependence, right? So knowing that instead of dependent, on our governments, on the large institutions which are breaking down as we move towards the era of the individual, knowing that we need, in a sense, this interdependence, that we need this interconnection between us. It's the pressure of wanting without losing one's identity when being accepted by others. So in many respects, this interdependence is what we're moving towards. What we're going to be seeing this year is being individual, yet at the same time, not wanting to lose your identity and connecting with the greater whole. So it's the successful approach that does not lose its individual character in acceptance, right? So it's being able to connect to the broader whole, yet be individual. It can also be, as the challenge, the pressure for acceptance, which fears eventual rejection. The tendency, once an approach is accepted, to get stuck in continued reflection at the expense of continued development. So kind of getting, in a sense, feeling like you kind of get stuck in the same, repeating pattern, right? And get stuck in this sort of continued reflection of going over things over and over again, as opposed to mutating, moving forward, having this revolution. So again, what we've been speaking of really speaks to all of this.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, I really sense with a lot of people that they are really struggling inside themselves with what's happening and the effect of what's going on, and also really are forced, because lots of people have to stay at home and to work at home, and they are really forced to take a look inside to their inner truth, the mental pressure to really take a look. Okay, who am I? What's going on? What is my opinion about what's going on? Do I believe the government, or don't I? But is everything that's happening fake news? Or I think there's a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, and people aren't able to distract themselves anymore with social activities. The restaurants are closed. All kind of other activities are gone. And also they are forced, when their resources are taken away, that they have to be creative about how they can offer their services in another way. Like, for example, restaurants that are also now coming up with all kinds of things like delivering or offering drive-throughs with all kinds of food, etc. So it's really challenging, and also the pressure to move forward. So it's the pressure cooker to make sense of the world, but also to move forward in this world. And that's, I think it's crazy. And then there is the last resort, and exploring every possibility. I think it's really crazy, because I think we live in a world with a situation that we have never experienced before. And I think the government and everyone is taking a look. Oh, Karen is gone.
I saw that she froze. So yeah, we're having some kind of issues. No worries. So you're doing great. No, and actually Beryl is saying, and Karen will come on. She will log back in, and we'll get it. But we're still live on Facebook, so we will wait a little bit. So
Yeah.
Beryl is saying, I agree, just for myself, quiet and enjoying from home. Now I'm learning BG5, and I wish I knew the course earlier to learn more. So I think to know this information right now at this time in this chaos is so valuable, to have something to settle down and to trust the process. And as I shared before often, right? So, and this is one from my colleague, Chris, that is also an instructor. Like Ra told us, it will be a shock what is happening, right? And we are now in the last 7-year cycle, so just 6 years until 2027. And if you think about it, it's a process of 400 years, right? So we are like in the last bit. And it's going to be a real change in background frequency. So when you take down an office building to build apartments, you don't go in with a toothpick, you go in with a wrecking ball, you go in with dynamite. So that's what we actually see. And on the cusps of being here, and in this changing world right now, people generally don't like change, but people also, and that's what you kind of shared, Linda, are sensing it's off. Like the way we did things, or the way that things are organized, it's off. And what you shared about the riots here in the Netherlands, and we've seen that Italy, people were, you know, up there and going, hi, we're still going, we're just chatting on, we're still live. So go ahead, share your, can you hear us? Yeah, there we go again. We're still live. We cannot hear you. You're still muted. You're still muted, Karen. Yeah, mute button, just general normal mute button.
We can hear you.
There we go. There we go.
Yay!
Oh my goodness, I got thrown off.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't get back on.
We're being censored.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys were able to continue.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we're still there. So share your screen and take it easy. So I was just saying, people in general, we don't like change, and it is happening, and we are in this last 7-year cycle. So this is what we will experience, and it's kind of like we haven't had. There are wars, of course, but we here in the West, let me just phrase it like this, because there have been a lot of wars in the Middle East, etc. But we kind of feel like easygoing, like we are here and all is well. And then we see a year coming with revolution, because revolution, that's something like from prehistoric, right? We don't sense that we could be in a revolution, but guys, it's going to be an interesting year. And just, you know, for all of you, whatever happens and whatever you see outside, stay calm, stay tuned to yourself, move forward for what feels good to you, and just observe. You know, we will get to the other side as well. And this is what needs to happen for the office building to go down, the wrecking ball and the dynamite that's coming in, to build a new building, to build a new system, to build a new society.
Yeah. And what you really see play out is that the everyone that is really benefiting of how things are organized today wants to hold on to how they organized it. But they also sense it's going to change, that their power, their control is going away, that things will be or have to be organized differently, but no one knows in what way. And so there will be literally the pressure from bottom up, from the drive and stamina. It has to drive us forward. So we have to move forward. And it really confronts us with our needs. Okay, do I live in the place I want to live? Do I do the things I need to do, I want to do? Do I like doing the things? So all these almost existential questions arise. Yeah. So it's I think for lots of people, it's really a really nasty time. It's really confronting them with what's going on in their own lives, and also that the knowledge and the awareness that we are so dependent on how we organize things, and now it's collapsing in front of our eyes, and then we are thrown back even more at ourselves and thinking, but why not can I go to a restaurant? I was used that someone else cooked my dinner, and like all kind of stuff. And we really have to focus on our authenticity, which BG5 really brings forward. So we can really feel what's going on and how the energy dynamics and the frequency is affecting us, but to being able to see the roller coaster and not get nauseous about all the twists and turns. And then going to take a look from the interdependence, okay, with whom you want to connect with. What do you want? So I think it will end up in different ways of organizing things, etc. But it's it's changing. So wow, it's amazing to be alive at this point in time.
Exactly.
We have a beautiful sharing as well from Lisa Marais in Facebook. She says it is helping us to evolve and mutate, preparing us for 2027 in finding new ways to become more independent. In a way, it's binding us closer to support community and not the larger corporations. So many levels of reconnecting and respecting one another. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You know, and that's the interdependence, being dependent on each other versus dependent on authorities outside of us.
Outside. Yes.
Yes. And, you know, and again, with this sort of inner truth, right? The inner truth, the, you know, creative process. This is the creative process to be able to adapt to the change, to adapt to what's shifting and changing. And, you know, this is also inner truth too. So it's the awakening to what is our inner truth.
Yeah.
And what's going to keep us safe is following your decision-making strategy. Don't get caught up, you know, as you guys have said, don't get caught up in the, you know, in the panic, in the, you know, the change. It's changing, whether you like it or not, things are changing, you know. So as Ra often said, watch the movie, right? He said, enjoy the show. If you can approach it from the observer, you know, experiencing and seeing what's happening and what's unfolding, following and trusting yourself, it's going to guide you through these turbulent times, right? So, you know, on one hand, everything has two sides. On one hand, it can be terrifying. On the other hand, it can be really exciting as well.
Yeah.
Right. And as Natalie was saying, sometimes you have to break things down before you can build them back up.
Yeah. And having all of this information, it truly, I mean, I'm so at peace and so relaxed. Or like, if I wouldn't have this information, seeing what is going on, I would freak out, I think. But just knowing, like, observing and being able to, you know, stand in my own inner self through and etc. moving forward, and everything will break down and eventually there will come a new system. I just know, right? We just know from this information.
Yeah.
It is so helpful to navigate.
Exactly.
But it will be fascinating.
Definitely a fascinating year.
Yeah.
You know, and we have also the 41. The 41 is also in our judge and discipline as well. So it's interesting to see that there, not only in, you know, this. So there's a, in a sense, sort of a new way of, you know, what is correct. You know, where do we get punished or not punished as well.
Yeah.
So, and when we take a look at the 41, just to take a look at the 41 is the dreamer. It is also decrease and contraction as well, right? If we think about giving birth, there's a contraction, a decrease in order to birth. And so in a sense, it's birthing something new. And it's also the limitation of resources, which maximizes development of potential. Right. So again, we're talking about, once again, the limitation of resources as well. So we're going to need that creativity to, you know, and trusting ourselves to move beyond that. This is about fantasizing and recognizing that what the feeling of value beginning in the new cycle. So fantasizing and recognizing the one feeling of value to begin a new cycle. So again, you can have all of these possibilities, but ultimately fate is going to take hold with one. And it's the hunger for new life adventures. So, you know, we are entering into these new adventures fueled by your desire to interact with others through experiences and feelings, right? It's very collective. And patience here is a great virtue. So we talk a lot about that with following your decision-making strategy, that patience is really key, right? Following, waiting and following your decision-making strategy. And you may feel driven to satisfy your desire or fulfill some destiny. However, you're not in control. You must always surrender to the hands of the fates. And so even though we can follow our decision-making strategy, ultimately, it's really, again, surrendering to the fates, being able to watch the movie and accept as things unfold. I don't know if there's anything, Linda or Natalie, you would like to add here.
Yeah, this is also has everything to do with surrender to what's going on, and also be careful with expectations. Because I think lots of people are holding on to the past. They don't accept there will be a new beginning. So they really fantasizing about getting back to normal. But what is normal? And I don't think it's coming back. So yeah, it's an invitation, this trait, to be creative, to take a look. Okay, we have limitations, but in what way can I use my talents and my gifts to do things I like? And what could it look like? So in a positive way, but from a state of independence or interdependence, and maybe create partnerships instead of, or starting as an entrepreneur, following your dreams instead of working in a multinational kind of style. So I really think it's an invitation without expectations, but to let go of everything that was normal, and that hunger for a new life adventure. Okay, we are going into a new direction. I don't know in what way we will go or what life will bring, because everything is changing, but I surrender and I follow my decision-making strategy to whatever comes on my path. So that it really feels to me this way.
I love that. I love that. And when in taking a look at the judge, the judge and discipline, right? Where we will get judged, where we will be quote unquote disciplined, if you will, in this next year, is emotionally when we have expectations.
Yeah.
When we let go of the expectations and allow things to unfold, allow the fates to take hold, when we are able to observe and watch the movie, right, we won't get punished. But again, where that punishment we're going to feel, in a sense, that punishment or that discipline is if we have, we're fantasizing about things, so we have these expectations, and boom, we can crash in disappointment, right? And emotionally, it can be very painful.
And it is a collective experiential energy, which is about, not having expectations and surrender to the fates. But then also you will eventually over time learn a lesson. Eventually on the other side, you will look back and go like, oh, and you cannot how do you say that, imagine it or whatever, right? You cannot know what is on the other side. So you just have to live it to see what the new or the experience itself is and was, and where it brought you, which is most certainly not back to old normal. It will be a new way of doing stuff, and that but it right now it feels tricky. It feels maybe you are in fear because you don't know what to hold on to. You don't have control over what is happening, but something will come, and maybe just and even if you're not like acting upon it, right, because that eventually will be the fate and your decision making strategy, but you can fantasize about what you would want to do. You can fantasize about 10 things. I mean, as long as you don't expect everything to come to truth and to realization, you can fantasize whatever you want. That's what the dreamer is about, right?
Yeah.
But then eventually the fate will decide what will come through, and you will know when the timing's there. You will get pulled to that, but just try to think outside of the box, right? Try to open up, try to and yeah, it may not be easy. We have by the way another so Alina says, surrender to the hands of faith. Whoa, I feel most people will need to learn to let go of their need for control, each minor aspect of life because of fear. And that's what it's about, right? In the emotional intelligence on the other side, that the fates have to do with fear. And I'm learning more and more to let go of control, of knowing the next step. And my imagination is really this world where we don't, that it is just flowing and connecting in interdependence and everybody being themselves, which is the background frequency we're going to, right? So we will be supported in that, from 2027 onwards. And then we don't have, I think our need for control will also fade away. In essence, the whole 1949 will fade away, right? And so I cannot imagine again what it will look like, because we have never lived in that kind of frequency, but it will be very special for sure. Very
but in that sense, it also feels to me like it's a battle between fear and trust.
Yes,
that's what is happening right now.
And I think when you choose fear, you aren't allowing yourself to dream about things getting better, or that chaos can produce something better, but that you have a pull to where you came from, and you have a pull to focusing on limitations that are here, because they are here. And if you choose trust and surrender, you really can really fantasize, just like Natalie shared so beautifully, about other possibilities and the way you would like to live your life, and how the world can be, etc. So for me, again, it feels like an invitation
I love that.
to choose trust.
Yes, I love that, because it really is that trust or that fear. Absolutely. And when we take a look at, this is the quality that we're in right now, as we're in quality 6, which is contagion, which is the leader. And it's the law that the maximization of potential not only ends decrease, but inevitably such transcendence benefits others. Right. So it's kind of like the end of decrease and the beginning of, being able to benefit others as well. So if we take a look at the elevation, the fuel for recognition through feelings, remember, this is pointed towards emotional intelligence. This is the maximization of the potential of form, the father whose success will benefit his children. And that's what the picture is here. The challenge is the fuel for secret or repressed feelings, right? Because again, it's pointed towards emotional intelligence, the tendency in transcendence to keep a secret in fear of being deprived of a special advantage. Whoops. There we go.
Was that Moxie?
Yes, that was Moxie. She wanted to go back.
It's time for change.
Right, exactly.
Change. Go ahead. Go dream.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting to kind of take a look at this, in that respect too. It's kind of like, the recognition of feelings, or in a sense, the suppression of feelings.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like the acceptance, like you were saying, Linda, of trust, or really, in a sense, succumbing to fear and keeping everything, secret.
And I really feel also as BG5 enthusiastics. It's our job to be contagious to other people about the times we're living in, and say, okay, we experience it as well as you do, but we also see a positive side, and we can guide you through these times because it makes sense, like we're just doing today. And also to be a leadership. Quality 6 is about wisdom, but also about objective wisdom, standing a little bit aside, taking a look, not being absorbed in all the chaos, but taking a look, analyzing what's going on from a place of wisdom.
Yeah.
So I think this is beautiful that it's in quality 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
it's beautiful. Yeah, this information is so spot on. It's jaw dropping every time. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think actually this, oh no, this is quality 6. It's in quality 1 in the judge and discipline. Cool.
Yeah. No, in quality 3 as well.
Yeah. And in quality 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. And just kind of moving into social needs, because we won't be able to cover this next week, because next week we will be continuing on with the listener and the 13. But let's take a look quickly at the social needs, because we've been talking about this. This is also part of what the foundation is for this year, is these social needs. So it's approach. It's the wanting to be needed and the needing to be wanted. This is understanding the two essential needs: access to basic resources like food and shelter, and principles that feed our spirit and strengthen our families and strengthen our communities, right? So this is not only physical resources, but this is also, in a sense, spiritual resources as well. And that connection resource. It's the fuel for our social needs and the sensitivity process, right? So this is being sensitive to the needs of others as well. And this is the source that drives all revolutions. Exactly what we were talking about earlier. If needs are not being met, and again, those needs are, physical needs, but also spiritual and community needs. If those needs are not being met, a revolution may follow. Again, the source that drives all revolution. And as you were talking about earlier, Linda, being quarantined or being, all of that, we also don't have, our needs being met in terms of, being able to connect and interact with people in the way that we have in the past.
Yes, and giving hugs.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Just really connect in a way. And yes, I think this makes so much sense, because I think as humans, we are here to serve others and to use our abilities, our talents, our strengths to help others, inspire them, or whatever your talent provides. And lots of people are cut off from delivering their talents to others because they aren't allowed to work. And it's also really taking a look at what they really need, because things are falling apart. And for example, I talked today to a friend, and she said, I now understand how much I love my job, and I'm not allowed to do it. But she felt, not only because the money aspect, but the need to do what she loves doing. So it really gives room for her passion to flow. Yeah. And I think that's the gift of the time we are in right now, in this year, that we are really more, maybe also more valuing time with people we are allowed to see, like family or other friends, and that we really get a distinction of our basic needs. What do we
Yes.
need? And
Yes.
what can stay away, but what is the essence of our life and our talents and everything. So and I think when you do things from a place of passion, from an your inner knowing, your intrinsic, I don't know if it's a word in English,
Yeah,
but
intrinsic.
intrinsic
Intrinsic. Yeah.
intrinsic place, you have the drive to start a revolution.
Oh, there's Karen going again. She's
Oh
freezing.
no.
No,
Oh, there you are.
you're
Okay.
talking. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, but that's what I feel, because what I feel personally is that my passion overrides my fears.
Hmm.
It's I just a simple example. I am not that fond of speaking in public in a video or something, but I feel so much passion for BG5
Yeah.
that I do it.
It's a
So that's my
You've been
revolution.
an amazing guest too. Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you, but it's really, it's a process, because I feel my need to let other people know how fantastic this information is, especially in the times we are in.
Yep. Exactly.
And what a gift for people to experience their needs
Yep. Exactly.
and then fantasize about everything that their gifts and talents can provide, and then create a better world. So
I love it. Love it.
yeah.
Really, really beautifully said. Right. So this is something that you're going to want to take a look at for this next week, because this next week we will be taking a look at what are your needs. All right, just real quickly, our celebrity for today is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, composer. And if we take a look at his life work theme, it's the life work theme of the Alpha. You seduce others with your dreams and fantasies while waiting for the unexpected moment of advantage to lead you to the promised land with its expectations for what seems new and better. And it kind of plays into what you just said, Linda, as well. And when we take a look at Mozart, he's considered among the greatest and most influential classical composers of all time. He was already competent at the keyboard and the violin when he was at 5 years old, and he composed from the age of 5 and performed before European royalty. And he's composed more than 600 works.
Wow.
And again, really that, a leader and bringing forth something unexpected and, seducing others through his music, with the dreams and fantasies. So I think it's a beautiful example as
Beautiful,
well.
because he's a natural talent, and music can take you to a fantasy.
Yes.
It is really, it can bring you in a certain mood. And I love his music because I used to play the flute. And I played a lot of his music, and it's really, you are getting into the feel and into a vibe.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then you want to follow him. He leads you somewhere. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful example.
Great.
Yeah. And really as a role model too, with
Yes.
Quality 6 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. Well, this has been amazing. Again, if you want to follow along with our BG5 lives, and again, you can download your chart. So get your own personal chart. You can also get your own report. You can also follow us along on BG5 Live. You can watch our past episodes in the free resource library, also on YouTube as well. And we still have courses that are just getting started, so would love to invite you to join us. Natalie and Linda are working together, and Linda's assisting Natalie in teaching the BG5 Foundation course in Dutch for the very first time. So congratulations. That is very, very exciting. We also have Juan Jose, who's teaching the certification in Spanish. We have Sachiko teaching in Japanese. We have other instructors teaching in other languages. So be sure to check out the new courses as well. So we invite you to join us. All right. What we're going to do is just wrap everything up by just sharing a few things. I'd love to hear both from Linda and Natalie, and if there's anyone else in either the Zoom room or in Facebook Live, anything to pay attention to or be aware of in this next week, specifically in being that trait focusing on our needs, being in the 19.
I think it's a wonderful week to really truly feel, what you are driven to. What is it, your essence? What is it that you really, really need? Physically, of course, in money and a house and shelter, etc. But especially spiritually, who do you want to connect with? What enriches your life? What is the base, the basic, the essence of it? And so we're thrown back in our own space with COVID anyway, so might as well take this time to do some contemplation.
Yeah, beautifully said, Natalie. How about for you, Linda?
Yeah, I really resonate with that, because I think it's also time to have compassion for yourself, and also to accept that you maybe don't like what's going on, but also, it's also exciting because the time is here to explore your needs and maybe to shift gears, because you really feel from your decision maker strategy or within your body that maybe something exciting is going to happen, because the time for change is here. So really, really time to take a look at what makes your heart sing, and to focus on that.
Yeah, and now you say that like that, I go like, it probably will end up, but I know we are in the middle and it's terrible for a lot of people, but it may end up for a lot of people in the world to be the best thing that ever happened to them, because we tend as humans just to continue on in certainty, right? Having a job that we actually don't like, but when we are laid off, when we are thrown back at ourselves, you can start with a clean slate. And although it may not feel like that right now, like in a year or 2 years time, the world may flourish because of people picking up from something inside, or switching to a different job that they didn't have the courage to do so because they were still in certainty.
Exactly. So this is the time to really see, what do you really need? What do you really want? To fantasize, to dream, but yet at the same time, taking a look at specifically, what are those needs physically? What are those needs spiritually that you need to move forward? Well, it has been absolutely awesome. Amazing guest, Linda. Just really, really brilliant. So thank you so much for being here. And thank you to each and every one of you who is here live in our Zoom room, or watching on Facebook, or watching via the recording. We appreciate you very, very much. So thank you. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a great week.